Hey guys, and welcome back. So, we've been talking about the gender war here in Korea, especially in light of the presidential election. Well, there is a bit of a progressive sign that I wanted to go over, but of course it comes with a lot of drama too. So you know how the Conservative Party really doubled down on appealing to the disgruntled young male voter that really leaned in heavily misogynistic, that wanted to get rid of the gender ministry, say that there is no need for gender equality, and really then did even stand up for basically just being jerks. Now, on the other side, we did have, during the presidential campaign, Ijen Young, even though, he scary crazy, but he did recruit the activist who really did blow the lid on the Nth Room case. And that was that digital sex crime case, which we'll go into. But she has now been named the co-party chair of the emergency committee. Essentially, she is the co-chair of the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party of Korea, the leadership resigned en masse after the election because they said it's because, our candidate lost, but a lot of them just resigned and now they're, running for positions, in local politics. And those elections are coming up in a few months. And so they haven't solidified who's going to run the party, but this becomes a good opportunity for them to kind of make a mirror of the young dude who is running the Conservative Party right now, who's in a lot of hot water, and it looks like they're trying to kind of pull him down. Like the Conservatives, I think, are even trying to pull down this dude and most likely replace him with Ahn Cheol-soo, which will be another video. But this girl is now the co-chair of the temporary, essentially a committee that's going to be running the Democratic Party until I guess they, get their sea legs and then, run it officially. But the cool thing is that she is only 26 years old, but she is extremely well spoken. And she was one of these activists while she was a college student who reported, investigated, and was able to dig out this huge controversy here in Korea, the Nth Room case. I'll put a link below where you can kind of get into the more nitty-gritty because I don't want to get into all of it here. But essentially, this was so controversial because it was essentially like a private Telegram group where you had to either pay in cryptocurrency or, I believe, submit your own content where basically you took spy cam of your I guess people you don't know, or oftentimes I think it was people you knew, and submitted it, and then you would basically elevate your status and go into higher level rooms. That's why it was called the Nth Room, as in algebra or calculus, the number of the room, it's first class, second class, third class, and it got more crazier and crazier and crazier. And the organizer, who went to jail, he got convicted. So, thank goodness for all of that. This was all in about 2019 when it kind of exploded, but all of this was happening probably 2018, 2017, probably even, who knows when it started. But the guy would entice people to keep paying more and more money and say that celebrities were even in these videos by using deepfake technology. And so this was getting extremely out of hand, and some of these acts that they were doing were really horrible and violent, and they would blackmail people. So what they would do with a lot of these girls to lure them initially, apparently, was to pretend that they were like trying to recruit models and then make them do suggestive things, and then somehow like put some sort of like malware link to Twitter so that they can get their like Twitter account so that they can then figure out their personal details or some other social media so that then they can have access where they could blackmail them and say like, okay, if you don't give us more, take off more and send it to us, then we're going to send what we already do have to all of your friends and family. And so they were able to trap all these people. Apparently there were, they said only about 100, but I don't believe that. Women who were victims. I think there were probably a lot more, but what was scarier was that there were 260,000 members, and I believe like some people were paying like $1,000, $1,500, but I think I remember them saying that not all of them were paying. They were submitting their own content, which is why I think there were a lot more victims, but probably active victims where they were like, actively luring, I think maybe was 100. But I think in terms of like people's images that got violated, I think there were a lot more, because I don't think it was just 100. But what really scared me was 260,000 members, and I thought that's a lot of people. So I broke it down in terms of, I looked up the demographics of South Korea. There are 19 million males over the age of 25, and I just, did a rough thing about like, well, if you have access to cryptocurrency. So that is 1.4% of the population. That is more than 1 out of every 100 people in a room were a member of this secret chat group, okay? That is absolutely vile. In any office building, in any kind of work, in any company, there's guaranteed like at least one member that was a member of this Nth Room chat group. And then I was like, okay, well, like maybe like really old grandpas and stuff like that wouldn't know how to do this. So then there are 12 million males in South Korea between the ages of 25 to 54 years old. So that is 2.2% of the population. So 2 out of every 100 people, 2 out of every 100 men, most likely it was just men were part of this group. So shocking. So anyhow, so Park Ji-hyun, well, let's get it back to this. So Park Ji-hyun, she is now going to be leading this committee, and she is the big leader of this movement. I guess you could kind of say like, if this was the Me Too movement, like she was able to kind of bring this out, and she reported it for major news outlets, and now she is entering the world of politics. And she had campaigned for Ijen Young because during the campaign, Ijen Young, like apparently she said like she didn't want to do it, but he talked to her for an hour, and she even said like, because the guy's good at talking, and convinced her over the course of an hour of talk. And then so she did decide to work for his campaign, work towards safety for women in this space. But something really creepy did happen when she introduced herself for the first time to her political party, the Democratic Party, in the chamber at the National Assembly. She was, wearing the mask because, we still mask in public spaces here. And one of the old crusty kind of like veteran lawmakers was like, hey, we don't really know who you are, we haven't seen you, pull down your mask. And she was just like she just like wasn't having it, but she kind of like laughed it off. And then people were just like, that was super inappropriate. And especially with the way that he said it, like he said it like, oh, it would be good if you just kind of took it off a little bit. Like, the sentence he used, like, you could kind of say it as if, like, taking off your clothes. And that's like you can't, like, saying that to the person who exposed the Nth Room scandal, super inappropriate. And then, like, the hot mic caught him. He's like, what, did I say anything inappropriate? And people are just like, gosh. Yeah, the party totally needs her basically there. Anyhow, so I just wanted to say that I don't know exactly like how much of this is just virtue signaling ahead of the local elections, because this is also going to be pivotal. And also, I don't know how much real power they will really give to her, but it does show that in Korean politics, they're surprisingly, right? Because there is that crusty old guy who just did that to her. But in a leadership position, of course, it's a co-chair. So she's basically just, being kind of like a figurehead. But still, they're giving a co-chair to a 26-year-old. And then on the conservative side, literally the head of the party is a guy in his early 30s, and now I think he's crossed into maybe his mid 30s. And so very interesting how, like, they are willing to have some of this younger generation, most likely just to save themselves, because Korean people are that fed up with old style politics, and yet it's still the same. Anyhow, so let me know if you guys want me to go more in depth into the Nth Room scandal, because that is just really ugh. And it's been a while since it's been all resolved, and the guy's already in jail. But if you want me to go into it, I will. Leave your comments below, but I just wanted to give you that kind of a little bit of spot of sunshine. I don't even know if it really is a ray of light, but it's a little one. At least it's a little one. All right, guys. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Tune in next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Love you.